Now, the primary oocyte will start its first meiotic division. Before this meiotic division happens, during Prophase I, DNA will replicate itself. So, as you know, when a cell is about to divide, whether mitosis or meiosis, first is going to replicate its DNA. It's going to double its DNA, right? So now we still have 46 chromosomes, but they are double structured. So that's the difference between going from the oogonium and now into the primary oocyte. It's going to go into prophase I of meiosis, and it will have double structured chromosomes. You still have the 23 from mom, 23 from dad, but they are now replicated. Mm-hmm. Questions so far? So at primary oocyte, prophase I, DNA is replicated. So now what is the amount of DNA? Amount of DNA is the big N. Mm-hmm. So before it was 2N, and we've replicated or duplicated.
So 4N?
So it'd be 4N, 4 big N. And for the small n, which is number of chromosomes, what would be the number of chromosomes? Or what would be the n, small n?
If it's duplicated?
It's duplicated, but remember, we are still working with the same number of chromosomes. So we never go from 46 chromosomes to 92 chromosomes, because that wouldn't be a human cell. So it's still 46 chromosomes, but the amount of DNA is doubled because we replicated the DNA because we're about to split. Mm-hmm. Okay? So the number of chromosomes, does it change or stays the same, or does it get reduced at this point?
Wouldn't it stay the same?
It stays the same, correct. So it's still 2 small n, and is it diploid or haploid?
Haploid. Or diploid.
It's still diploid. So we haven't split the cells into 23 and 23, so it still stays diploid. So the only thing that happened is the amount of DNA, which is big N, has doubled, and that's where we get the 4N designation. So here we are during the early stage of prophase in the first meiotic division, after the DNA has been replicated and the oogonium enters into a very important stage called the Diplotene Stage. Okay? When the primary oocyte reaches the Diplotene Stage during prophase of the first meiotic division, it arrests its further progression in meiosis I. It stops. So as a female, when you were in your mother's womb at about 4 weeks of development, your ovaries, or in your ovaries, the cells which are going to become your egg, or eggs later on called ovum or ova, they started their first steps toward becoming those cells. Mm-hmm. They are not those cells yet, but they started the process. And after you have primary oocytes, and they started DNA, and they finished DNA replication, and your DNA has been replicated. You still have 46 chromosomes, but the amount of DNA has doubled. The cells arrest at that stage. They stop. Okay? Mm-hmm. And this is called the Diplotene Stage. All right? So before you were born as a female, all your primary oocytes have started their first meiotic division, and at birth, you have no more oogonia.